Hey, what's up everybody? This is Srick360 from Player2Reviews.com. Well, I'm sure you know the drill by now, but this is going to be a short commentary video from Mount and Blade Warband. Just released about last week on Xbox Live and PS4. It's been available for quite a while on PC. I think way back in 2015 at least. Now, what this game is, it's kind of hard to describe. It's like well, let's see. It's like a kind of like a simulation, I guess. It takes place in the Middle Ages, and basically you can like kind of play it however you want. The world like randomly simulates itself every time. So every time you play, it's like there's different outcomes. The same kingdoms aren't gonna be in the same positions like of power every time you play. You know, sometimes a kingdom might get destroyed or taken over by another kingdom, or in other playthroughs that very same kingdom that just got destroyed could end up destroying everybody else. It's kind of randomly generated, and like I said, it simulates as you play. It takes place like in the Middle Ages, like a feudal era basically. You got a bunch of different countries, and the whole world is called Calderia. Now, what you do basically, what you see me doing right now is I'm creating a character. You get to choose their little backstory and everything. It actually does have a bit of an effect on how people see you and talk to you in the game. And well, here you got like a heavy like sort of statistic driven RPG character sheet kind of here. Like you get to choose your statistics and your combat proficiencies, like your different weapons, and the page in the middle here, it's like just like a big it's a big list of different skills, and honestly most of them are pretty useful during the game. But really in the beginning you want to pick something, first of all, something that'll help you survive, and secondly, if you have a bit of an idea of how you want to play, you can basically kind of cater your skills to that early on. Like if you're planning on just like roaming around being a trader, you could like take skills so you can buy things for cheaper. Or if you want to be a soldier or just fight or something, you should basically gear your character towards those kind of skills. You can see here you have a couple options for making your character. Like the characters don't look good, honestly. Like the graphics in this game, they're not very good, like especially the character models, but I guess that's maybe because sometimes you can just get way too many characters on the screen at the same time, so maybe it's kind of hard for them to render. I have no idea, honestly. But one thing's for sure, they're ugly. Basically, the game always starts off the same way. You're right here. You're gonna get mugged, or a cut purse is coming to get you, whatever. It basically acts as a bit of a mini tutorial. Like this part, you have no choice; you have to do. But the part coming up, you actually don't have to do it if you don't want to. But I recommend you do it because it kind of gives you the basics. Plus, the guy pays you gold, so you're gonna need that. Or sorry, I should say dinars. I'm so used to saying just gold for everything, but the currency in this game is called dinars. So, yep. Yeah. So this is the guy. You talk to him, and he, a lot of talking. He gives you a little speech about how basically his brother was kidnapped by stinking no good bandits. Typical. And basically he wants you to go get him back, so he pays you a bit of money in advance, and he recommends you go gather a party of people before you can go take on the bandits. So as you can see, this is the main map. When you're standing still, nothing happens. Like nobody moves. Like time doesn't pass. But when you're See, sometimes you recruit from villages, but sometimes there's just nobody to join you, so you just have to go around searching villages for people to join you. Anyway, like I was saying, when you move, time only passes in this game when you move. So if you just stay still, you can take stock of your situation, look around, plan where you're going to go. You don't have to worry about anything. But as soon as you start moving, everybody else starts moving. The world gets put into motion, and all the NPCs and different characters, they go around and kind of do their own thing, like go about their own business. Sometimes you'll see lords. Sometimes you'll even see kings actually moving around with their giant war parties. And as long as they won't attack you as long as you're not an enemy, like of their state, I suppose. But for example, here, like you can walk into people all the time. Like you'll find roving bandits and looters, and sometimes enemy soldiers from other countries. And them you gotta watch out for. Once you bump into them, you have a couple options of like what you want to do. You can surrender, or if you have enough men, you can leave some men to cover yourself while you retreat, or you can just let your men battle themselves and you stay out of it. I find obviously the most fun is to jump into battle yourself with your men. That's one of the things I really like about this game. It's just like first of all, I'm kind of biased because like I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm just like a nerd for all things medieval. So it's just like it's very cool when you get into like just big, huge battles. You have like all your men charging, and it's much safer if you have a horse, because you can just kind of gallop around and run people over, pick and choose where you attack. Yeah. See, it's not that hard in the beginning, but later on, you improve your men, because after battles they gain a certain amount of experience, the surviving members, and basically you can upgrade them. It depends what they can be upgraded to. Depends on like what country you find them in. And anyway, once you upgrade them, like eventually you can keep upgrading them and they get stronger, but they cost more money to hire, because you have to pay your men a salary every week. Basically, once you can't afford that, they start leaving you. Same thing for food. You have a morale meter basically, and if you don't have food or money to feed or pay your guys, then eventually they're all just going to leave you. But yeah, so once you upgrade them to a certain point, you'll have actually branching upgrade options, and you can get like from there you can choose usually different paths, like if you want them to be like a melee unit, or possibly like a crossbowman, or maybe an archer. See, yeah, here I can upgrade some people. They perform much better either way when you upgrade them. And yeah, after battles you can get loot. Now only your main character can equip different stuff like weapons and armor, but you do get other members, like not just like hired henchmen, I guess, but you get other more important characters that they have the same basically character page and stats like you do, and they're kind of like your main companions. Usually you have to find them. You can find them in towns and everything, but sometimes they join you for free, but other times you have to pay to get them to join you. But they're always very useful to have. Their skills really come in handy, like, because obviously you can't train yourself in every skill possible. You would have to play a long time and level up quite a bit to do that, and I'm not even sure if that's possible. So it always helps to have like companions with you that are like catered to skills that you haven't been teaching yourself. Anyway, for them you can equip them with good armor and everything too to help them survive battles better. Just the problem is though, sometimes if you lose a battle, you can get like literally your army and companions scattered all across the continent, and you'll have to like basically find them again. Sometimes they get captured by the enemy and they get just pretty much dragged around. You got to find the enemy and destroy them to save them. Or you can sometimes I think you can go back and find them in certain taverns, and that there's actually a character you can find in taverns that will tell you where they're located if you're having trouble finding them again. Yeah, here are the villages. You can go into basically any village and just walk around, but there's not much really to see. Unless you're on a quest or something, you're trying to hunt down somebody. But if you find the village elder, he can like sell you stuff. You know, like you can actually buy cattle and everything, provisions for your army. Yeah, you can find. Oh yeah, that's right. You can also find out like if there are like enemy troop movements, if there's any around. Like maybe if you're hunting for a certain party or something. Yeah, so sometimes because they don't ever have money to sell stuff, so sometimes I just like to kind of trade them my junk to offset like just buying some food for my rest of my men. Yeah, you can also do most of the stuff from the main village menu. And a handy thing so you don't really waste your time running around for no reason is anytime you're in a location, you can just press B to exit. And you can actually even do that in battles, but it counts as surrendering. Yeah, as I was saying, there's plenty. Basically, there's plenty to do in this game. You can play any like style you want. Like there's probably gonna get whooped here, but there's like you got tournaments that are held all over the place. You can like just if you wanted to, you could just kind of like travel the land, like just taking place in tournaments and stuff like that, trying to get famous. Make that money. Yeah. See, I'm not good at jousting at all. It's like it's actually like the combat is actually much more deeper than it looked originally. Like obviously I'm using a lance, so if I like hit some guy here, it's not going to do much damage if I'm not moving fast. You have to be moving a certain speed to actually do damage with the lance. Especially like I'm just sneaky, so I'll just get him in the back. It's still hard to aim though. You have to. Every weapon has like a different sort of range and timing. And for most weapons, the combat system, like I said, is pretty cool. Basically, let's say you're using a sword, you can't really do it with a lance, but let's say you're using a sword. If you hold any direction, like if you hold left, you swipe left. Right, you'll swipe right. If you hold up, you'll go for an overhand swing. And basically you can attack from 4 different directions. And if you want to make the game harder, because as it is, the default setting I believe is auto block. So if you hold the left trigger, you're just going to automatically block it. Yeah, that's it for me. Anyway, bastard. There goes my glorious tournament winnings. Yeah. Okay, that just sorry, that totally threw me off. Slimy son of a bitch. Okay, anyway, like I was saying, you can turn on the block when you have auto block on. You just hold the left trigger and you can block any direction. It doesn't matter what direction the guy comes at you in, you'll block it. But if you want to make the game much more challenging, you could actually turn that off, and that way you'll have to press the matching direction to block in that direction to block the enemy's strikes. So like you'll have to like hold up and block if you want to block an overhead strike, or left and block if they swipe you from that direction. I can only imagine how hard that would be when you're like in the middle of a big battle and you're like trying to fight like 4 guys at the same time. But it really adds a very kind of cool element, like realistic element to the whole thing. I mean, this game is not like Dynasty Warriors, where you can just like run in alone into a like group of 20 to 30 people and just chop them down without thinking about it. You really need to know what you're doing. And I mean, like your character is not really overpowered. I mean, you're really gonna have to make use of your backup and everything. Like, if you're gonna charge like an idiot into enemies, they're just gonna tear you up. Like, I gotta find them. See, there's no mini maps or compass or anything to point you in the direction of the enemy. Usually what I do is I just wait till the battle starts and I see where my guys are charging and I just head in that direction, because they always charge in the direction of the enemy. Yep, there they go. Good for them. I'm just gonna kick back and use my crossbow. The thing with the crossbow is it takes a while to load, and if you're just gotta get them. There's a lot of benefits to being on horseback, because like obviously you get a kind of a better range, but if you're on horseback you need a longer sword than I have right now. See, yeah, won the battle, easy. Because if you're on horseback with a dagger, it's kind of stupid. You're gonna have a hard time reaching the people. But if you're using a crossbow on horseback, you can actually ride while reloading. But if you're on foot, like you shoot a crossbow, then you're gonna have to stop and reload it, and you can't move while reloading. So that's another benefit to the horse. Plus, like, the faster you move, if you're going fast on a horse and you chop a guy down, you get a bonus, like extra bonus damage, like depending on your speed. So it's very cool. Yeah, they got this handy little notebook here, like in case you really, like if you don't pay attention, like I don't pay attention most of the time to the names. I forget the names of the towns and everything. So it's very handy to just kind of bring this up, and then you can just go to your map and look for where the town is. Basically, the tutorial is coming to an end now. Basically, I just gotta storm these guys and take them out, and that's it. But so the tutorial basically gives you like a good idea of what to expect in this game, like what you can do. Like, and I mean, you just go from there. Like, if you want, you really like you don't even really have to fight if you want to play this game. Like, if you feel like you can just go from like town to town, checking market prices and selling, just to see how much money you could get. And I mean, you could you could actually go and try to like woo some noblewoman so you can marry yourself into a nice powerful family, maybe get yourself a castle. But what I prefer, personally my style, what I prefer to do is like gather my men, and then I find a decent kingdom, and I try to make a name for myself in that kingdom. And I try to get in good with the king so I can become his like vassal. And basically he grants me a fief. So now I have this like little town I can gain taxes from and everything. Problem is that with that too is you gotta watch out, because people loot your town. Like, towns can be looted by soldiers and bandits or whatever, which pretty much ruins them for a little bit. You won't be collecting taxes or volunteers or nothing. But alright, each person has their own individual playstyle. I mean, it could be fun just to try playing something different for a while, just to see how far you can get being a merchant or whatever. That's your kind of thing. Anyway, it doesn't seem like much. I mean, like, the graphics aren't that great. But there's a lot of fun to be had with this game. Like, I mean, honestly, on PC, this is my most played game in my Steam library. Like, I got addicted to this game so hard when it came out back then. I was kind of hoping there would be mod support on Xbox One, because Xbox is getting into that now pretty good. Because this game has like a lot of great mods. Like, it has such a great modding community on PC. It's kind of a shame that you don't get it on Xbox. But anyway, I'm just hoping like further on we'll get some of the DLC too, because there's also some pretty cool DLC, like the Napoleonic Wars, and you can play as either Napoleon, like the French or the English, and battle with the period specific weapons and everything. Is very cool. I hope we get to see that sometime soon for this. If not, we'll just have to play it on PC. Alright, yeah. These are some some of the useful people in the tavern you can talk to. Like, usually you go to a tavern, you'll find like sometimes companions and whatever. It's always good to check. Some people can give you quests also, and it's good for money. This is basically the last battle of the tutorial. It's really not. I mean, it's not that hard. For the most part, you can just let these guys. These guys will pretty much take care of everybody. You just gotta watch your own back and make sure you don't get like side punched. Oh, another thing too is you have to be careful, because you can actually deal damage to your allies. If you wanted to, you could adjust it in the option menu. You could actually turn it off, or adjust it however you want. If you want to make it very realistic, you can put like full damage, half damage, whatever. I just leave the setting as is, because I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's fun having to like aim and worry about my companions, but I mean, let's just say I've been guilty once or twice of taking my own guy out with a poorly shot crossbow bolt. Yeah, I think that's about it for his battle. Yeah, okay, that's it. Tutorial's over. Okay, so thanks everybody for stopping by and watching, and keep an eye out for the review soon on player2reviews.com. See ya.